Hi, I'm Mike Yaroshevsky, founder and CEO of MCP Manager, here to talk to you about handling PII in the context of your MCP to AI connections. While MCP has been unlocking a tremendous amount of business connectivity that's enabling improved automation within enterprises today, we all have to pause and think about the implications of processing highly sensitive information in these LLM contexts, both because the privacy scrutiny from users is higher than ever, as well as the requirements placed on our industry by governments and regulations that are already in effect or coming into effect. And so if you are not using an MCP gateway, you have absolutely no visibility and control over this. So I'm going to assume that you understand the importance of using an MCP gateway and just jump in and show you how using MCP Manager's gateway with our rules engines allows you to gain more control over the data flowing through your MCP gateway from your servers to your LLMs. So in prior videos, I've demonstrated the regular expression-based matching. Regular expressions are great for detecting information that follows a really specific format, like a US Social Security number. However, if you're looking for things that are a little bit more difficult to detect, might rely on context clues, things like locations, US driver's license information, which doesn't follow a uniform format across the entire country. You're going to be looking for engines that are a little bit more adaptable. And Microsoft Presidio is an open source one that is actually quite powerful and is one that we have a direct integration with today. Now, we do support extensible connections with other systems like DLP engines or even first-party guardrails that you may have created or AWS Bedrock. But let's take a look at how Presidio works today, and the concepts apply to any type of engine that fits into this rules format. So if I open up the Presidio configuration, you'll see that there's a wide support for all of the different entities that Microsoft Presidio is able to detect. For today, I've selected credit card numbers, locations, and US driver's licenses with a 0.2 threshold. And my action here is going to be to replace that found data with something that indicates that data was found that was replaced. That'll help the AI reason about it. Now, you could take another action here, which is to directly block the MCP call. So let's say you wanted the existence of PII in a piece of content to completely rule out the processing of any piece of that message. That's another behavior that you could adopt. For today, I'm going to replace it. And I'm actually going to start with this off so that we can establish a baseline and then turn it back on again and watch the engine run. So here's the sample data that we're going to run it through. It's this demo support ticket where the customer, trying to be really helpful, submitted a overabundance of PII. They've submitted their license plate number, their home address, their credit card number. They just really didn't want to get a follow-up question in this case. And so for today's demonstration, like you saw on the prior screen, we're going to be looking for locations. In this case, it's going to detect Orlando, Florida. It's going to be looking for driver's licenses that follow some format that the NLP can detect, and credit card numbers. Now, you could obviously expand this to detect a wide variety of other information here, but that's what we're going to look at today. So let's go establish that baseline. I'm going to ask Claude to go look up the support ticket. I've been very generous with Claude by directly giving it the ID, but of course, if you didn't have that ID, or maybe it was being piped in or had to look it up, MCP is really powerful in that it allows a wide variety of tools to be used by the LLM to do its job, and the AI is intelligent enough to figure out what tools it needs, perhaps looking things up. Fortunately for us, it seems that Claude pretty quickly detected. It's got to run the fetch engine, and it's going to go through the MCP gateway without that classifier, and it's going to try to pull that information back. So let's give Claude just a second here to run. Great, it looks like Claude's coming back with the data that we expected. All of that information came through. We see the home address, we see the driver's license, we see a really useful summary here, so it had all the information. And of course, we can come in here and see the raw data that came through the MCP message. And yep, you can confirm right here, we see all of that information flowing through. We see Orlando, Florida, we see the driver's license information, we see the credit card number right there, all in plain text. This is something that we now want to redact. And so I'm going to come back into the gateway, very quick, simply toggle this, come back, rerun this, and let's see what Claude can find this time, now that it's going to rerun that, but this time the classifier is enabled. So let's give it a second to run. All right, that was fast. So in this case, it ran. There's some less information coming through here. Let's go take a look at the raw feed. and what we got. So, oh, that's quite clever. So we can see here that the home address obviously detected Orlando in Florida, but a little bit less obviously up here where the vehicle was listed as a Toyota RAV4 with a Florida plate. It was able to remove that. Now, this is particularly clever because FL could be an abbreviation for things other than Florida. And so this is where Microsoft Presidio's intelligence, the sort of NLP engine, really comes into play, looking at the surrounding context and making an assessment about what each piece of information is. And we could also come down here and see that the driver's license was redacted and the credit card was successfully redacted. So that was a successful execution of the rules engine. Now, of course, Microsoft Presidio is just one of many different types of plugins that you could use with a gateway like ours. You could plug in your data loss prevention system to identify information flowing to the LLM that you might want to detect. You could run sophisticated additional logic here to detect information that's flowing through and see if it meets your expectations or rules. Let's say it's data that a user has to have consented for the AI to process. That could be done at this specific choke point. And so that is the power of having an MCP gateway for both enabling and gaining that observability around how your MCPs are working, but also ensuring that you're respecting users' privacy and compliant with the global regulations that affect AI processing of data. I hope that was a very quick and helpful demo of how MCP Manager is enabling both privacy respecting and regulation compliant use of AI in your business. If you'd like to learn more, visit our website or book a live demo with a human. Thanks for tuning in.